Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to be guiding our study group today because we're exploring a concept that is a total game changer. We're going to dive into this deeply empowering idea that our adult lives, our reactions, our fears, the way we handle our relationships, are secretly being run by hidden, outdated childhood software. By the time we wrap up today, you're going to have the tools to pop the hood of your own mind, spot these hidden programs, and actually start rewriting them.
So let's kick things off with this really fascinating concept from behavioral profiler Chase Hughes. We hear the word authenticity thrown around all the time in the personal development world, right? But Hughes argues that what most of us call our authentic self is literally just a costume. It's basically a set of early survival mechanisms and beliefs we picked up when we were maybe 8 or 9 years old, and we've just kept running them on autopilot ever since. Finding your true authenticity actually means we have to peel back this costume and finally wake up to these early patterns.
All right. Here's our roadmap for this explainer. We've got a clear, step-by-step path to take us from deep psychological insight to actionable steps you can use right away. We're covering the power of self-awareness, the childhood development triangle, identifying your hidden scripts, tuning in to the inner child's voice, and finally, how to rewrite those scripts for good.
Okay, let's start right at the foundation with Section 1, the power of self-awareness.
You know when we fiercely defend a flaw and say, well, that's just the way I am, whether it's a quick temper, being super shy, or constantly overachieving, that is the costume of childhood in action. It's just an unconscious loop of how we learn to handle conflict and stay safe as kids. True authenticity, on the flip side, means dropping that ego. It's being completely willing to risk a little social injury to stand up for what you genuinely believe in as a grown adult, rather than just protecting the inner 8-year-old.
Moving right along to Section 2, the childhood development triangle. This right here is the hidden control panel of our minds. Meet the childhood development triangle. This is a behavioral profiling tool that decodes why we do what we do. It shows that our early programming was driven by 3 massive pillars: friends, safety, and rewards. As kids, we literally wrote permanent behavioral contracts based on these 3 things. We packed these scripts into a little psychological backpack, and get this, 90% of us carry that exact same backpack straight into the office, into our marriages, and into adulthood. Let's break down each pillar. So, the crucial point here is to really reflect on your own childhood. What did you specifically do to make and keep friends? Were you the class clown making everyone laugh? Did you have to be the loudest kid in the room? Or maybe, like a great example from our source material, you begged for specific shoes or clothes just to fit in, so you wouldn't get picked on. Your brain hardwired that specific strategy as a core social survival tactic.
Now for the second pillar, what did you have to do to feel safe? Did you shrink down, getting as small and quiet as possible so you'd just fly under the radar? Or were you the hypervigilant kid, constantly scanning the room because, say, a parent's mood was completely unpredictable? Whatever you did to feel safe back then is absolutely dictating how you handle stress and conflict today.
And finally, the third pillar. How did you earn rewards? And keep in mind, for a kid, a reward is usually just basic love and affection. Did you get simple, unconditional appreciation? Or did you quickly figure out that you've only got noticed for social significance? Bringing home a shiny certificate, scoring the winning goal, being perfectly behaved. Believe it or not, this directly dictates your ambition and your relationship with achievement right now.
That brings us to Section 3, your hidden adult scripts. Let's connect the dots from your past to your present.
Picture an adult woman sitting in a corporate boardroom. She wants to speak up, but suddenly her body language completely shuts down. Her voice drops, and she literally shrinks in her chair. What you're seeing isn't a timid professional. No, you are seeing an 8-year-old child who got yelled at during family dinner, desperately running her old safety script in a grown-up body. The visuals here make it so painfully clear, right?
Because of this dynamic, we're essentially 3 different people operating in 3 different environments. How you acted around authority in the classroom maps directly to your work self. Your childhood home life maps to your private adult life. And the playground, that maps straight to your adult friend group. If you keep attracting toxic friends or repeating the same self-sabotaging mistakes at work, hey, you aren't broken. You're just completing a childhood story archetype in one of these environments.
Let me share this incredible example from the source material. There was this colleague who was incredibly pessimistic. She overanalyzed everything, trying to predict every possible disaster 20 steps ahead. Why? Because she grew up with a father whose mood could flip on a dime. To survive, she had to become a radical preemptor. Now, it makes her exceptionally good at her job, for sure, but it comes at the massive personal cost of constant grinding anxiety. That is a childhood safety script running the show.
So, if we all have these scripts, how do we take back the steering wheel? Let's get into Section 4, the inner child's voice.
The first step is separating your adult identity from this old programming. You do this through a practice called negative dissociation. You really have to realize that this behavior is just a contract written by a very young, misguided child. It was a coping mechanism that wrongly assumed you'd need it forever to survive. Honestly, the most freeing realization you can have is this: you are not your trauma. You are just carrying it around in that backpack.
So when that limiting belief pops up, when you feel that sudden urge to shrink away or lash out or overachieve until you burn out, the goal isn't to just magically delete the thought. I mean, it's been there for decades. Instead, try this. Force yourself to literally hear that belief in the voice of a little kid. Recognize it as a fictional story being told by a frightened child. The second you hear it as a kid's voice, you strip away its power over your adult decisions.
Now for the most actionable part of this explainer. Section 5. Rewriting your hidden scripts. Let's look at exactly how to fix this.
Hughes lays out this profound 4-step method. First, identify the pattern and the kid's voice. Second, write out the plain English belief that child wrote. Third, and this is absolutely the secret sauce, you take that belief to a ridiculous extreme to create sheer disgust. And fourth, you make it visible every single day. These steps leverage extreme cognitive dissonance to totally hack your identity and force a behavioral change. Let's look at a real-world example of this.
There was a businessman who had this deeply ingrained safety script of, "I need to stay small to be safe," and it was totally capping his business growth. He was instructed to make this exact, shocking phrase, "My kids don't deserve for me to be successful," his daily computer wallpaper. He had to stare at it every single day. Why? Because it exposed the true ugly cost of his hidden belief.
You might be wondering why a shocking wallpaper like that actually works. Well, it all comes down to negative motivation. As humans, we are fundamentally discomfort-avoiding creatures. Our mammalian brains are hardwired to run away from a bear way, way faster than we'll run toward a piece of chocolate. Creating that deep, visceral disgust on the computer screen forces the brain to say, "Whoa, this is not who I am," and it course corrects immediately.
But to really cement this new adult script, you've got to trick your brain into paying attention. You need to introduce visual novelty, repaint a room, move your desk around. This breaks your brain's autopilot wallpaper filter and forces you to stay present. From there, build micro-compliance. Give yourself tiny, super easy daily goals to prove to your brain that your identity is actually shifting. Those small wins are what build the new reality.
As you all head into your study group discussions today, I want to leave you with this massive question to challenge everything you think you know about your own behavior. What childhood contract is secretly running your adult life today? Grab your notebooks, take a hard look at your own triangle of friends, safety, and rewards, and start uncovering those hidden scripts that are holding you back. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and have an amazing time exploring this.